Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today Invent Animate has put out they're about to put out a new track called Heavener. I am sitting here waiting for the premiere, so getting the intro out of the way. Because it is before the song has dropped, I have no idea whether this comes with the announcement of anything further. All I know is that the track is called Heavener, and most likely that means a deluxe, I would assume, because it's a title track off of an album that just came out this year. But I am beyond excited. Needless to say, this is my favorite band in the whole world. I have talked way too much probably about them on my live streams, on my channel, in my videos. So my stance on this is very clear. It is always one of the best days when Invent releases something. So I will link all of their social media promotional links, the music video, which will be going live here when I get to the next portion of this video. All of that will be in the description. I'm going to stop talking. We are going to get straight into it. Marcus! What a way different chorus. Full body chills. Oh. Invent Animate Heavener. Let's discuss. Needless to say, I absolutely loved this. This is very worthy of a title track. I am assuming, because this is a title track, that there is a deluxe version of the album in the works, but that has not been announced or anything, so I have no idea. I know people usually come and ask me stuff like this on my videos. I don't know. But I think it would be safe to assume, with this being a title track and being released, 6 months after the album, I will try not to make this outro super long, because I do tend to be just a little bit rambly and maybe slightly biased about this band because they are my favorite, but I will talk about the things that I loved about this. First of all, Marcus's vocals are incredible. His singing voice has improved crazy amount since he joined the band, and this song really shows that off. I think there are moments all over the new record which do. There are some cool tracks like Reverie and Ember Glow, and some big chorus moments. The variety that we get from Marcus is something that I love. He does that kind of singy, screamy vocal that I talk about a lot on the channel, that you see with bands like Blue Shift and stuff, that we have also talked about a lot on the channel. But with this track, it is the singing that sticks out to me the most. There is just some really tasteful moments from him in this track, some key changes, all sorts of stuff that I really enjoyed, and it kind of, the majority of the track revolves around that sort of sound. There's some wonderful synth in here. The atmosphere with Invent Animate has been a huge draw for me since the very beginning, since I got into the band. So there is a little bit, I feel like, of everyone's personality in here as well. There's solo music that Caleb has done that shows like some of his work with like beats and stuff, and though there's nothing like that kind of gives me the same feeling as Reverie, for example. That was a track on the album that kind of gave me very much Caleb vibes. I have no idea if that's accurate or not. I think there's overlap with their influences, what they like to listen to and stuff too, so I really have no idea, but that's just sort of what it reminded me of. So a little bit of like the synth type of stuff in some of the beginning of the song, where you hear a little bit of stuff that makes you go, what is going on there? I'll have to listen to it a bunch more, which should be no problem for me, but and I'd be able to be more specific about that if I did, but just on first listen. And then Marcus absolutely doing his thing on this track. Huge riff, probably. And it is tough after coming out of an album like Heavener to put out another track with the hype that the album received. It was a wonderful time to be an Invent Animate fan and see the reception to Heavener and such. It was really well received, and rightfully so, in my opinion. This is exactly the reason they are my favorite band, is because it feels like it's geared exactly towards all of the things I love. The ability to write riffs like this, to me, insane. You get a little taste of what's to come further out or further towards the beginning of the song, but then when you get that big drop, not only does it hit you with an insane riff, but it still keeps that like emotional feeling from the beginning of the song, from a lot of points in the song. It's overwhelming to listen to, gives full body chills for me, as I mentioned during the song. That sort of thing I feel is something that just makes them so special, because it's not easy for a band to like check all of those boxes in one go for me. This song is an example of something that absolutely does. Since the beginning too, since I really got into them, I don't really consider Waves part of their discography now, because it's so hard to come across, and a lot of people who have just got into Invent have no idea what that EP even is or anything. But even from the debut release, if you listen, there's still stuff that I don't feel gets the proper attention that it deserves. Forest Haven has some huge Invent Animate riffs on it, and it's a track that I think often gets overlooked. Even though Nature Hold is one of my favorite songs of all time, that album, the very first full album from them, was something that gave me a similar feeling, not as intense as with Heavener, because I do feel over the years they've really progressed as a band, and Heavener was a point that they got to, but the albums all scratch a different itch for me. Everchanger is one of my all-time favorites. I know Stillworld is the more popular favorite when you look between the two of them. Greyview was a big shift in who was kind of talking about the band. A lot of people got into them with Greyview and stuff, and Everchanger and Still World, the records with Ben, they just feel like a different chapter at this point, which makes sense. But when it came to those two, I think Still World was more commonly people's favorite, while Everchanger remained mine. It just has, don't get me wrong though, I love everything this band has ever done, so Still World is still a record that is constantly on rotation for me, and it has a very different feel. I think these are records that match their album art very well, so with Everchanger, it feels much different for me than Still World. Both stay on rotation. But anyway, what I was trying to say is there are songs that serve different purposes for me through that record. When I'm looking for those big riffs, I'm listening to Forest Haven. Nature Hold is like the chorus track for me. There is Luna, which is like that really emotional song that kind of gives the full body chills, like with this track. But in a much different way. The meaning behind the song and everything, the energy that they have always brought to it at live shows, stuff like that. See, this is why I try not to make these outros too long. I'm way off topic. I love this song. This is gonna be potentially my favorite riff of the year. It's hard to say. My other favorite riff of the year right now is off of Heavener. Spoiler alert, that's not that much of a spoiler. I'm gonna have to do much more listening, kind of get more familiar with it, but wow. And Brody being part of the band too, as I understand it, this is the first track that Brody has like written the drums for. And just to talk about the lineup changes and stuff, a lot of people talk about it. Trey plays guitar in the band now, which they've always had a sort of, multi-talented approach when it comes to Trey's position in the band and Kiki writing stuff. He is a guitarist as well as a drummer, so Brody being with the band now after touring with them for the better part of the last 2 years, I think it has been, I think it makes a lot of sense, and he's a great fit with the band, and this song just proves that. Some of the 4/3 and such that he brings to this track, outstanding to me, just really tasteful moments. I think it was not the bridge, but the maybe the first pre-chorus or something where it hits so well. So for me, of course, unsurprisingly, this is going to be on repeat for a long time to come. I have not taken the album off of my daily rotation since March, so this track will be a wonderful addition to the collection. I am thinking that this will be a deluxe version. It's called Heavener, which is a big clue towards that. Also looking at the art on streaming services and such. The visuals, of course, wonderful. And they went with a different... So Chris Klump has done a lot of the more recent videos, I think, from The Sun Sleeps As If It Never Was forward through the Heavener releases, and then this is through someone else, but it still fits their aesthetic and such incredibly well. I think they probably do a good job at this point of communicating what that is and what it looks like to them. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the song. About as unorganized and excited as it gets. As I mentioned a bunch of times, this is my favorite band ever. So I will stop rambling about them. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much. I will link the music video I used in the reaction portion of this. I will link the band's social media, merch, themorning.org, which they had put a shirt early on, like for pre-order. You use your Heavener ID to get in. I keep saying I'm going to wrap this up and then talking about stuff. But The Morning, if you check out the link, you'll see how you can sign up. If you got physical copies, I actually happen to have them right here, physical copies of the album, then you should have got cards like this in them, which have your Heavener IDs on them. You can use that to log into the site, or you can request one if you don't have a membership card, and then you can see what they're planning with that portal. As of right now, there's been some early access to merch and stuff like that, so it's kind of like a hype portal, I guess, for lack of a better term. So all that will be in the description of this video. You can also find my link tree there with my Patreon, my Twitch channel, which is where I do all of my music-related live streaming in general. It's all music-related right now, even though a lot of people want to see video games, which I'm somewhat considering for Twitch, but right now it's all music-related stuff, so if you want to be notified when I go live, see what I'm doing over there, feel feel free to give the Twitch channel in that link tree a follow. On Patreon, I offer a ton of different stuff. We're doing voting for 2023, which I'm going to have to go back and add a new poll right after this that includes the riff from this track, because now I feel that it's very deserving, and I'll be curious what other people have to say about that. And I offer a bunch of other stuff. You can see it in the tiers if you're interested. The Discord server invite link will be there. That is where the community is based for my channel. All that good stuff. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.